Okay, we're going to talk about community risk reduction. Now, this is a fairly short chapter, but there's some important points that I need to bring out, and I think it's going to be beneficial for you as a fire officer to understand some of these things when you're dealing with your community. So, firefighters are held in higher esteem. This goes back to, really, if anybody remembers 9/11 or after 9/11, people loved the fire service. I mean, they saw a fire truck going down the street, people waved, they clapped, they held up banners and flags and everything. I can remember working a day over at the pile at the World Trade Center right after it happened. I went across with the Jersey City guys on a boat, and that night we came back. We landed at the one of the piers over there in Jersey City, and people were lining the piers, just watching the smoke come up from ground zero. And as we were walking along the pier to go back to our cars, people were just chanting as we walked by, USA, USA. It was a unbelievable feeling, just an unbelievable time, to be in the fire service. And since then we've kind of lost a lot of that, but we're still one of the most highly respected services out there. So the people in your community hold you at a very high esteem, and they also expect a lot from you as a firefighter. So we need to know the people in our response areas, and it doesn't matter whether you're career department, volunteer department, whether you're a low income area, whether you're a high income area. You need to know the people that make up that demographic, because we're going to be called to deal with emergency situations no matter what the economic climate is in that area. We have poor areas, we have rich areas, and we have to have compassion for these people, and we have to treat them basically all the same. So if you treat everybody the same with respect and dignity, you really can't go wrong. So when we talk about community risk reduction, again, just going back to the image of the fire department, and I saw this on a PBS documentary once. I think it was called the Fire Engine or whatever it was, but I remember it said one of the statements was, the greatest symbol of man's humanity towards man is the fire engine. And when that red fire engine comes around the corner, people know help has arrived. All right, so the cavalry has come in, and they're going to make everything all better. When you pull up in front of someone's house on their worst day of their life and they're having an emergency, they're expecting 5 highly trained, well-equipped firefighters that are in great physical condition that could perform brain surgery if they have to. So you have big shoes to fill, and it's incumbent upon you as an individual to do your best, to provide your best performance, to maintain your level of training, to maintain your level of physical fitness, all that, because you represent the fire department and you got some big shoes to fill. So keeping on with community risk reduction, so what is community risk reduction? And the book definition, it's the process that identifies and prioritizes local risks in the community. It also allocates resources to address some of the issues. So some common issues in community risk reduction, all right, and we can follow the 6-step process, and CRR is the short term for community risk reduction. So what we can do is we can identify a risk, we can then prioritize risks, we can develop strategy and tactics to mitigate the risk, we can prepare the critical risk reduction plan. Then we can implement the plan, and then we need to monitor, evaluate, and modify the plan. So just an example, in the picture you see a smoke detector giveaway. Now we can go into one plan you can have if you have a lot of elder communities. We can do a smoke detector program where we can go in and we can, as firefighters, go in and check smoke detectors. We can tell the people in that community, listen, if you need your smoke detector checked, give us a call. We'll send the engine company over, we'll send the inspector over, whatever. They'll check your smoke detector. We'll provide you with a brand new smoke detector at no cost. We'll even install it at no cost. So that's one way to do a community risk reduction program, say in a senior community. A lot of departments have senior communities that they respond to. Other departments have some very low income areas where maybe the families in that area can't provide a smoke detector. They don't have the funds. We could have areas where there was a fatal fire, and now we could go into that area and set up a program where, listen, we had a fatal fire in this area. They didn't have any smoke detectors. We have a smoke detector giveaway program. Come down, get a smoke detector, install it in your residence. If you need help, we'll install it for you. So things like that. So you need to take a look at what is the risk in your community, and you need to prioritize that risk. And can you come up with a plan? Is it important to you? Is it important to you to have this program? And if you do implement the program, then of course you always have to monitor it, evaluate it, and if things change, you have to change the program. It's pretty much a simple. So also, as a fire officer, you're going to be responding to, and you're going to be getting a lot of public inquiries, right? So when you have public interaction, you got to remember, you need to be respectful and professional. We need to treat everybody with respect and dignity. And many fire departments are volunteer, and they rely on donations, right? And we also depend on our fire budgets being passed. So as a volunteer firefighter, when you interact with the public, you need to put yourself out there as a professional. Be respectful. Know your job. This is going to come back to help you when it comes time for your fund drives. Again, if the public has a bad interaction with their local volunteer fire department, they're going to tell somebody, and that person's going to tell somebody, and the word's going to get out there. But if they do have a positive relationship with you, that word's going to get out there too. So sometimes marketing ourselves is a big advantage, and I think especially the volunteer fire service, we don't do a good enough job in getting out there and marketing ourselves. And there's ways to do that. There's all kind of social media that you can get out there. You know what? And just put out there, if you want, just put out there. You go to emergencies, you go to fires, just put out some pictures of fires on Instagram or whatever. People like to see that. You don't have to get involved with names, addresses, or things like that, but the people want to see that, hey, you know what, I'm paying fire tax, I'm giving donations to the fire department. I can see that these guys are out there all the time. They're constantly going to calls, they're constantly going to fires, middle of the night, freezing cold weather, heat of summer. So when that fund drive letter shows up, maybe they'll be more prone to throw a few extra bucks in there. Or when it comes to budget time, they have to go down and vote for their fire budget. They're gonna vote yes on the fire budget. Say, listen, these guys, it's a tax expense on me, but these guys they need the money, they deserve the money. You know, they're buying new equipment. I always see them out there on Facebook. I see them out there all the time on Instagram. So yeah, I'm gonna vote yes on budgets. So just something as simple as that. Citizen concerns and complaints. You got to remember, you represent the fire department. Anytime, if you're wearing a t-shirt, you're wearing a jacket that says, you know, your local fire department on there, you're representing the fire department, and you may be under a microscope. Just remember, cameras are everywhere. So if you do something stupid, there's a good chance someone's going to video it and it's going to show up somewhere. So again, you represent the department, and you can see the chief here in this picture giving a press release. She is out there with her turnout gear on, her helmet. She's representing the fire department. She's looking sharp, and she's providing a good command presence. And also, just going back to you represent the fire department. Your conduct or behavior as a firefighter is always under scrutiny by the public. And not to mention that, now we talk about your fire company performance. You go to a fire, you go to a motor vehicle accident, there's always people milling around watching. They got cameras out. So this is not the time for you guys to come out of the fire building high-fiving each other, you know, doing all kind of stuff, making comments. You know, I like to say we should be using quiet professionalism in everything we do. We don't have to be out there, you know, pounding our chest, you know, rah rah. It's quiet professionalism. If you do your job, if you know your job, people in the know are gonna know that, hey, this guy knows his stuff. He's not out there rah rah or anything like that. Just keep your head down, know your tools, know your job, and do it well. And again, follow your fire company policies. Now, if you are interacting with the public, all right, you get a complaint as a fire officer. They call you up on the phone at the firehouse, or you're making contact out in the field with somebody. Take the extra step to take notes. You know, write stuff down. If you don't write it down, you may forget, right? Be an active listener. So you have to show empathy and compassion when you're dealing with people out in the public. All right? Remember, more often than not, you're showing up at somebody's worst day in their life. That's why they called you, right? They have a fire, they have an emergency. Things are bad. You may have seen this type of emergency 100 times before, and to you it's not really that big of a deal, but to them it's the biggest deal in their life. So if you are interacting with the public and you're given a complaint, you know, note it, listen compassionately, empathetically, and follow up. You know, just don't let it drop. And if you do follow up, keep that complainant informed. You know, get their phone number, say, listen, I'll follow up on this, I'll let you know what happens. So even if you couldn't do anything, if you call that person back, say, you know, Mrs. Smith, this is Lieutenant so and so. We spoke the other day. You had a complaint. I looked into it. This is what I found out. I referred it to another agency, but there's really nothing else that I can do right now. So that's pretty much it with community risk reduction. So thanks for watching. Be smart, stay disciplined, and keep training.